Have you noticed that getting out of bed feels a little harder than it used to? Maybe your legs feel weaker, maybe climbing stairs takes more effort. Or perhaps you've started feeling less steady on your feet and you're not quite sure why. If that's happening to you, I want you to know something important. It may not be because you're simply getting older. In fact, there's a hidden problem affecting millions of adults over 60, and most people never see it coming. It happens quietly. It happens slowly, and it often happens while you're asleep. Every night, after you go to bed, your body enters a long period without food. While you're resting, your muscles are still working. They're repairing, recovering, and trying to stay strong. But if they don't have the nutrients they need, your body may begin breaking down muscle tissue for fuel. Little by little, night after night. I've seen this happen to many patients over the years. They tell me they haven't changed much. They're still eating about the same, still living the same way. Yet somehow they feel weaker than they did a year ago. Their balance isn't what it used to be. Their energy is lower, and simple daily tasks start becoming more difficult. The truth is, muscle loss doesn't just affect strength. It affects independence. It affects confidence. It affects your ability to enjoy life on your own terms. The good news is that there is something you can do about it, and one simple habit before bedtime may help protect the muscle you've worked your whole life to build. Today, we're going to talk about what that habit is, why it matters, and how it could make a real difference in the way you feel when you wake up each morning. Before we begin, welcome to the Senior Health Channel, where we share practical, science-based health tips to help you stay strong, active, and independent as you age. And if you're interested in living a healthier, stronger life after 60, take a moment to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an upcoming video. Now, let's get started. One of the biggest mistakes people make about aging is believing that feeling weaker is just something they have to accept. I hear it all the time. Someone in their 60s or 70s will tell me, "Well, I guess this is just part of getting older." But many times, what they're experiencing isn't simply aging, it's muscle loss. The problem is that muscle loss doesn't happen overnight. It happens quietly. You don't wake up one morning and suddenly realize you've lost a significant amount of strength. Instead, it shows up in small ways. Maybe carrying groceries feels harder. Maybe getting out of a chair takes more effort. Maybe you find yourself holding onto a railing when you walk down the stairs. At first, these changes seem minor. Most people brush them off, but over time, they add up. What concerns me most as a doctor is that muscle loss affects much more than physical strength. It affects your freedom. Strong muscles help you stay active, steady, and independent. They allow you to do the things you enjoy without constantly needing help from someone else. I've seen patients who were perfectly healthy on paper, but because they lost too much muscle, their quality of life changed dramatically. They stopped traveling. They stopped exercising. Some even became afraid to leave the house because they worried about falling. That's why muscle matters so much. It's not about looking athletic. It's not about lifting heavy weights. It's about maintaining the ability to live your life the way you want to live it. The stronger your muscles stay, the longer you can remain active, confident, and independent. And in my experience, that's something worth protecting. Most people think their body shuts down when they go to sleep. The truth is, that's when some of the most important work begins. While you're resting, your body is busy repairing tissues, balancing hormones, and recovering from the day. Your muscles are part of that process too. They're constantly being broken down and rebuilt, even while you're asleep. Here's the problem. Once you finish dinner and go to bed, your body may go 8, 9, or even 10 hours without food. That's a long time. For a younger person, the body often handles that stress better. But as we get older, things change. Our muscles become more sensitive to long periods without nutrients. I've seen many older adults focus on what they eat during the day but never think about what happens overnight. Yet, those sleeping hours can have a bigger impact than people realize. If your body doesn't have enough protein and other nutrients available, it has to find energy somewhere. In some cases, that means breaking down muscle tissue to support other essential functions. That's one reason many seniors wake up feeling stiff, weaker than usual, or less steady on their feet. It isn't always because of age itself. Sometimes it's because their muscles spent the entire night running low on fuel. The way I explain it to my patients is simple. Your muscles are like a house that's always under maintenance. Every night, repairs need to be made. But repairs require materials. If the materials aren't there, the work slows down. Over time, those missed repairs start to show. That's why giving your body the right nutrients before bed can make such a difference. You're not just eating for tonight, you're helping your body protect and maintain the strength you'll need tomorrow. One thing I hear from older patients all the time is this: "Doctor, I feel okay when I go to bed, but when I wake up, I just don't feel as strong as I used to." Maybe you've felt that way too. You get out of bed and your legs feel stiff. Your joints don't want to cooperate. You take those first few steps and feel a little unsteady. It can be frustrating, especially when it seems to happen more often as the years go by. Many people assume that's simply part of getting old. But in my experience, that's not always the full story. During the night, your body is still working. Your muscles are trying to repair themselves and recover from the day. But if they don't have the nutrients they need, they can't do that job efficiently. Instead of rebuilding, they may spend hours slowly breaking down. You won't notice it after one night. But after months or years, the effects become obvious. That's when getting out of a chair feels harder. That's when carrying groceries becomes more tiring. That's when balance starts to change. And balance is something we should never ignore. I've had patients tell me they didn't realize how much strength they had lost until they nearly fell. A small loss of muscle can make a big difference in stability. It affects how quickly you react, how confidently you walk, and how safe you feel moving through your day. The good news is that weakness is not always something you have to accept. Sometimes it's a signal that your body needs better support, especially during those long overnight hours. And when you give your muscles what they need, many people are surprised by how much stronger and steadier they begin to feel. I want to talk about something most people have never heard of, even though it's happening inside their bodies every single day. It's called muscle catabolism. That's just a medical term for muscle breakdown. And the truth is, it's a normal process. Your body is constantly breaking down old muscle tissue and building new muscle tissue. When those two things stay balanced, everything works the way it should. The problem starts when breakdown begins happening faster than rebuilding. This becomes much more common after the age of 50. I've seen it again and again in my practice. People stay active, they try to eat reasonably well, but they slowly begin losing strength without understanding why. What they don't realize is that aging changes the way the body responds. Muscles don't rebuild as easily as they did years ago. Recovery takes longer. The body becomes less efficient at using protein. As a result, muscle loss can quietly speed up year after year. What makes this so concerning is that you usually don't notice it right away. It sneaks up on you. First, you lose a little strength, then a little balance. Then, everyday tasks start feeling harder than they used to. Over time, the consequences can be significant. Less muscle often means less mobility, less confidence, and a greater risk of falls and injuries. It can even affect how long someone remains independent. That's why I tell my patients not to think of muscle as something only athletes need. Muscle is what helps you keep living life on your own terms. The sooner you protect it, the better your future can be. One thing that surprises many of my older patients is that the same habits that worked in their 30s and 40s often don't work as well after 60. They'll tell me, "Doctor, I eat pretty much the same way I always have, so why do I keep losing strength?" The answer often comes down to something called anabolic resistance. Now, don't let the medical term scare you. It's actually pretty simple. As we age, our muscles become less responsive to the protein we eat. In other words, the body doesn't use that protein as efficiently as it once did. Years ago, a normal meal might have been enough to help maintain muscle. Today, your muscles may need more support just to achieve the same result. I see this all the time. Two people can eat the exact same meal, but the older person's muscles may not get the same rebuilding benefit. That's one reason why muscle loss becomes more common with age, even among people who think they're eating well. Recovery changes too. When we're younger, the body bounces back quickly. A long walk, yard work, or a workout might leave us tired, but the muscles recover fast. As we get older, that recovery process slows down. The body still repairs itself, but it needs more time and better nutrition to get the job done. That's why protein becomes so important after 50, not less important. Your muscles are asking for more help, not less. And if that help isn't there, muscle loss can slowly gain ground year after year. The good news is that aging doesn't mean your muscles stop responding. They absolutely can respond. They simply need a stronger signal. The right nutrition, at the right time, can make a bigger difference than most people realize. I think one of the biggest misunderstandings about muscle loss is that people see it as a strength problem. They think it's only about not being able to lift something heavy anymore. But from what I've seen over the years, the real cost goes much deeper than that. The moment muscle loss starts affecting your balance, everything changes. I've had patients tell me they felt fine until the day they stumbled getting out of the shower or missed a step walking down the stairs. Sometimes it's a minor fall, sometimes it's much worse. A hip fracture can happen in seconds, but the recovery can take months. For some older adults, life never fully returns to what it was before. That's the part that worries me most. A serious fall doesn't just injure the body. It can take away confidence. People become afraid to walk alone. They stop going out. They avoid activities they once enjoyed. Little by little, their world starts getting smaller. And when muscle loss continues, everyday tasks become harder. Getting out of bed, carrying groceries, standing up from a chair, things most of us take for granted suddenly require help from someone else. I've seen many people reach a point where they need assisted living not because of a disease, but because they no longer have the strength and stability to safely care for themselves. That's why I always tell my patients this: muscle is not just about movement. Muscle is independence. It's freedom. It's the ability to live in your own home, make your own choices, and enjoy life on your own terms. Protecting your muscle today is really about protecting your future. After talking with thousands of older adults over the years, I've noticed something interesting. Most people pay attention to what they eat during the day. They think about breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But very few people think about what happens right before bed. And honestly, that may be one of the most overlooked parts of healthy aging. What you eat at night can have a bigger impact on your muscles than many people realize. I often tell my patients that your body doesn't stop working when you fall asleep. In many ways, the night shift is just beginning. While you're resting, your body is repairing tissues, producing hormones, and trying to recover from everything you did during the day. Your muscles are part of that process. They need fuel. They need raw materials. And if those materials aren't available, the body has a harder time maintaining the muscle you've worked so hard to keep. This is why timing matters. It's not just about eating enough protein. It's about having nutrients available when your body needs them most. And one of those times is during the long hours you spend asleep. I've seen people focus entirely on exercise while overlooking nutrition. Others eat healthy foods but go to bed with nothing in their system to support overnight recovery. Then they wonder why they keep losing strength year after year. The good news is that this is often something you can improve with a simple habit. Giving your body the right nutrition before bed helps create a better environment for muscle repair instead of muscle breakdown. Think of it as providing your muscles with support while you're resting. You're not eating because you're hungry. You're eating because you're investing in tomorrow's strength. And when that becomes part of your nightly routine, the benefits can add up in ways that truly matter as you get older. One thing I often hear from patients is, "Doctor, I already eat protein. Isn't that enough?" And my answer is usually, it depends on what kind of protein you're eating and when you're eating it. Not all proteins work the same way in the body. Take whey protein, for example. Whey is an excellent protein source. It digests quickly and gets amino acids into your bloodstream fast. That's why it's so popular after workouts. If you've ever seen athletes drinking protein shakes at the gym, chances are they're using whey. But here's where things get interesting. What works well during the day isn't always the best choice before bed. Whey is fast. In fact, it's so fast that your body can use most of it within just a few hours. That's great when you need quick recovery. It's not so great when you're about to spend the next 8 or 9 hours sleeping. Think about it this way. Imagine filling your gas tank for a long road trip. You wouldn't want fuel that only lasts for the first hour. You'd want something that keeps going mile after mile. Your muscles work the same way overnight. That's why I often talk about slow-release proteins with my older patients. These proteins break down gradually, delivering a steady supply of amino acids over many hours instead of all at once. That slow, consistent release gives your muscles support throughout the night when they need it most. As we get older, this becomes even more important. Our muscles are already working harder to maintain themselves. Giving them a protein source that lasts through the night can make a meaningful difference in how well they recover, repair, and stay strong over time. Sometimes it's not about eating more protein. It's simply about choosing the right kind at the right time. If there's one protein I find myself talking about more and more with older adults, it's casein. Most people have heard of protein, but very few know that different proteins behave differently once they enter the body. And when it comes to protecting muscle overnight, casein really stands out. What makes casein special is how slowly it digests. Unlike proteins that are absorbed quickly and disappear within a few hours, casein breaks down gradually. It releases amino acids little by little, creating a steady supply that can last throughout much of the night. I often explain it to my patients this way. Imagine watering a garden. You could dump a bucket of water all at once, or you could use a slow sprinkler that keeps delivering water hour after hour. For overnight muscle support, your body benefits more from the sprinkler. As we get older, our muscles become less forgiving. They don't recover as easily as they once did. They need a more consistent supply of nutrients to stay healthy. That's where casein can be so helpful. While you're sleeping, your muscles continue their repair work. They're rebuilding tiny areas of wear and tear from daily life. They're trying to preserve strength and function, but they can't do that without the raw materials they need. A steady stream of amino acids gives your body a better chance to maintain muscle instead of breaking it down for energy. That's why many experts consider casein one of the most effective nighttime proteins available. What I like most is that protecting your muscles doesn't have to be complicated. Sometimes a simple source of casein before bed can provide hours of support while you sleep. And over time, those small nightly choices can help preserve something incredibly valuable: your strength, your mobility, and your independence. That's why I often call casein the quiet protector. You don't feel it working. You don't notice it overnight. But night after night, it helps give your muscles the support they need to keep carrying you through life. Here's something many people don't realize. Some of your body's most important repair work happens while you're asleep. In fact, when you're lying in bed resting, your body is anything but inactive. It's working behind the scenes, doing maintenance, repairing tissues, and helping you recover from the day. One of the key players in this process is growth hormone. Now, despite the name, growth hormone isn't just for children. We continue producing it throughout our lives. One of its jobs is to help repair and maintain muscle tissue. That's especially important as we get older because our muscles naturally face more wear and tear and recover more slowly than they once did. But here's the part many people miss. Growth hormone can't do its job alone. I often explain it to my patients this way. Imagine hiring a team of builders to repair a house. You can have the best workers in the world, but if there are no bricks, no lumber, and no tools on the job site, nothing gets built. The workers are ready, but they don't have the materials they need. Your body works the same way. Growth hormone helps direct the repair process, but amino acids are the building blocks. Without enough amino acids available during the night, muscle repair becomes much harder. The body may still try to recover, but it won't have the resources to do it efficiently. That's why nighttime nutrition matters so much. When your body has access to a steady supply of amino acids while you sleep, you're giving it the raw materials it needs to support muscle maintenance and recovery. You're helping your body take advantage of the natural repair process that's already happening every night. And in my experience, that's one of the smartest things an older adult can do. You're not fighting against aging. You're working with your body's natural system to help it perform at its best. Night after night, those small choices can add up to stronger muscles, better mobility, and a healthier future. If I had to recommend just one simple food for muscle support before bed, cottage cheese would be very high on my list. In fact, it's one of the foods I talk about most often with older patients who are concerned about losing strength as they age. The reason is simple. Cottage cheese is naturally rich in casein protein, the slow-digesting protein we talked about earlier. That means it doesn't rush through your system. Instead, it provides a steady release of amino acids for hours while you sleep. And that's exactly what aging muscles need. What I like about cottage cheese is that it's not some expensive supplement or trendy health product. It's real food. You can find it in almost any grocery store. It's affordable, easy to prepare, and doesn't require any special recipe. But protein isn't the only benefit. Cottage cheese is also a good source of calcium, which becomes increasingly important as we get older. Most people think of calcium only in terms of bone health, but it also plays a role in muscle function. Strong muscles and strong bones work together. You really can't separate the two. When patients ask me how much they should eat, I usually tell them to keep it simple. About half a cup before bed is often enough for most people. You don't need a huge serving. The goal isn't to feel stuffed before sleep. The goal is to give your body a steady source of nutrition during those long overnight hours. I've had many older adults tell me that small changes like this felt almost too simple to matter. But that's often how healthy aging works. It's not usually one dramatic change. It's a series of smart decisions repeated consistently over time. And a small bowl of cottage cheese before bed may be one of the easiest and most effective habits you can start tonight to help support your muscles, your strength, and your independence in the years ahead. If cottage cheese isn't your favorite, don't worry. There's another food I often recommend to my patients, and that's Greek yogurt. In fact, many older adults find it easier to enjoy because it's creamy, convenient, and comes in so many varieties. What makes Greek yogurt special is its protein content. Compared to regular yogurt, it typically contains much more protein in every serving. That extra protein can be incredibly valuable as we get older, especially when we're trying to hold on to muscle strength and prevent the gradual decline that often comes with aging. But what I really appreciate about Greek yogurt is that it offers more than just protein. It also supports something many people overlook: gut health. Over the years, I've noticed that many health issues in older adults aren't always caused by what they're eating. Sometimes the problem is what their bodies are no longer absorbing efficiently. As we age, digestion can change. Nutrient absorption may not be as effective as it once was. That's where the probiotics found in many Greek yogurts can be helpful. A healthier digestive system often means your body is better able to use the nutrients you're already consuming. And that's important because protein only helps if your body can actually absorb and use it. I often tell my patients to think of it this way. You can buy the highest quality fuel in the world, but if the engine isn't running properly, you won't get the full benefit. Your digestive system works the same way. That's one reason Greek yogurt can be such a smart bedtime choice. You're not only giving your muscles the protein they need, you're also supporting the system responsible for delivering those nutrients where they're needed most. Sometimes the simplest foods provide the biggest benefits. And for many older adults, a bowl of Greek yogurt before bed is an easy, practical step toward maintaining strength, improving recovery, and supporting overall health for years to come. Two foods I often recommend to older adults are surprisingly simple: milk and kefir. Most people have seen them their entire lives, yet many don't realize how valuable they can be for muscle health and recovery, especially before bed. Let's start with milk. For generations, people have enjoyed a warm glass of milk at night. It wasn't just a family tradition. There was actually something useful behind it. Milk contains high-quality protein, including casein, the slow-digesting protein we've been talking about. That means it can continue supplying amino acids to your muscles for hours while you sleep. But that's only part of the story. Milk also contains nutrients that help the body relax. Many of my patients tell me they sleep more comfortably after having a small glass before bed. Better sleep matters because recovery happens during sleep. If you're not sleeping well, your body has a harder time repairing itself. Then there's kefir, one of the most underrated foods I know. Kefir is a fermented dairy drink that's packed with protein and beneficial bacteria. In my experience, many older adults find it easier to digest than regular milk. That's important because if your digestive system isn't working efficiently, your body may struggle to get the full benefit from the nutrients you're eating. I've often told patients that recovery starts in the gut. If your body can absorb nutrients more effectively, your muscles have a better chance of getting what they need to stay strong. What I like about both milk and kefir is that they're simple. No fancy ingredients. No expensive supplements. Just real foods that support muscle recovery, digestion, and overall health. Sometimes healthy aging isn't about finding the newest product on the shelf. It's about going back to simple habits that work. And for many older adults, a glass of milk or kefir before bed can be one of those habits that quietly supports strength, recovery, and better mornings for years to come. When people ask me what one of the most complete foods for healthy aging is, eggs are always near the top of my list. They've been around forever, they're affordable, easy to prepare, and packed with nutrients that your body can actually use. What makes eggs so valuable is the quality of their protein. In medicine and nutrition, eggs are often considered one of the best protein sources available because they contain all the essential amino acids your muscles need. Think of amino acids as the building blocks your body uses to repair and maintain muscle tissue. If you're not getting enough of them, it becomes harder to hold on to strength as you get older. But eggs offer more than just protein. They also contain healthy fats, which often get a bad reputation. The truth is, your body needs healthy fats. They help you feel satisfied, support hormone function, and slow digestion, allowing nutrients to be released more steadily over time. For many older adults, that's especially helpful during the overnight hours. And then there's brain health. One nutrient found in eggs that I often talk about is choline. Most people have never heard of it, but it's important for memory, focus, and overall brain function. As we age, protecting the brain becomes just as important as protecting our muscles. That's one reason I like foods that support both. I've had many patients tell me they stopped eating eggs because they thought they weren't healthy. Years later, many are surprised to learn that eggs can actually be part of a balanced diet when eaten in moderation. Sometimes the best foods aren't complicated. They're the foods that have stood the test of time. A simple boiled egg or two before bed can provide high-quality protein, healthy fats, and nutrients that support both muscle recovery and brain health. For older adults trying to stay strong, sharp, and independent, that's a pretty powerful combination. When most people think about staying strong as they get older, they usually focus on protein, and that's important. But there's another nutrient I often talk about with my patients that doesn't get nearly enough attention. That's magnesium. I like to call it the relaxation mineral. Over the years, I've noticed that many older adults struggle with the same complaints. Their muscles feel tight, their legs cramp at night, they wake up several times while sleeping and never feel fully rested in the morning. Sometimes they assume it's just part of aging. But in many cases, low magnesium may be playing a role. Magnesium helps muscles relax after they've been working all day. Think about it like this. Your muscles need to know when to tighten and when to let go. Magnesium helps support that process. When levels are too low, muscles may stay tense, leading to discomfort, twitching, or nighttime cramps that interrupt sleep. And sleep matters more than many people realize. Some of the body's most important recovery work happens while you're asleep. If your sleep is constantly interrupted, your muscles don't get the same opportunity to repair and recover. Over time, that can affect how strong and energetic you feel during the day. I've had patients tell me that once they started paying attention to magnesium-rich foods, they noticed fewer cramps and more restful sleep. Not overnight, not like a miracle cure, but gradually. And that's usually how real health improvements happen. Foods like almonds, pumpkin seeds, and spinach are excellent natural sources of magnesium. They're simple foods, but they can provide meaningful support for both muscle health and sleep quality. The way I see it, staying strong isn't only about building muscle. It's also about helping your body recover properly. And magnesium is one of those quiet nutrients that helps make that recovery possible, night after night. Let's talk about another nutrient that doesn't get enough attention when it comes to muscle health: potassium. In my experience, many older adults don't think about potassium until they start waking up in the middle of the night with a painful leg cramp. And if you've ever had one, you know exactly how miserable it can be. One minute you're asleep, the next minute you're sitting on the edge of the bed, rubbing your calf and waiting for the pain to pass. Now, cramps can happen for several reasons, but one common factor is that muscles aren't getting the support they need to function properly. Potassium plays a big role in that process. It helps muscles contract and relax the way they're supposed to. When potassium levels are low, muscles can become more prone to cramping, weakness, and fatigue. Potassium also works closely with hydration. As we get older, many people don't drink enough water. Some intentionally drink less because they don't want to make frequent trips to the bathroom at night. I understand that. But dehydration can make muscle problems worse, especially when combined with low potassium intake. One of the easiest ways to add potassium to your evening routine is with a banana. That's why I often recommend pairing a banana with a protein-rich bedtime snack like Greek yogurt or cottage cheese. It's simple, affordable, and easy for most people to stick with. I like this combination because it supports your body in several ways at once. The protein helps provide amino acids for overnight muscle maintenance, while the banana contributes potassium and natural carbohydrates that help fuel recovery. Over the years, I've learned that healthy aging usually isn't about one magic food. It's about putting small pieces together. A little more protein, better hydration, enough potassium. Those simple habits may not seem dramatic, but they can make a real difference in how your muscles feel when you wake up the next morning. And when you're trying to stay active, steady, and independent, those small differences matter. When most people hear the word calcium, they immediately think about bones. And that's understandable. For years, we've been told that calcium helps keep our bones strong. That's true. But what many people don't realize is that calcium does a lot more than that. In fact, your muscles depend on calcium every single day. Every time you stand up from a chair, take a walk, climb a flight of stairs, or even reach for a cup of coffee, calcium is involved. It helps muscles contract and function properly. Without enough calcium, your muscles simply can't work as efficiently as they should. I've had patients who were focused entirely on protein but overlooked the nutrients that help muscles actually do their job. The body is a team. Protein helps build and maintain muscle, but calcium helps those muscles perform when you need them. And of course, we can't ignore bone health. One of the biggest concerns I have for older adults is the risk of falls. As we've talked about before, falls can change a person's life in an instant. Strong muscles help prevent falls, but strong bones help protect you if a fall does happen. That's why muscle health and bone health should always be viewed together. The good news is that many foods that support muscle health also provide calcium. Foods like milk, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, and kefir give your body both protein and calcium at the same time. It's one of the reasons I recommend them so often. What I've learned after years of working with older adults is that long-term strength isn't built from one nutrient alone. It's built from giving your body the tools it needs day after day. Protein helps preserve muscle. Calcium helps muscles function and helps bones stay resilient. And when those two things work together, you're giving yourself a much better chance of staying active, mobile, and independent for years to come. That's what healthy aging is really about, not just living longer, but staying strong enough to enjoy the life you've worked so hard to build. By now, you might be wondering, okay, doctor, what should I actually eat before bed? That's a fair question. The good news is that you don't need complicated recipes or expensive supplements. In fact, some of the best bedtime snacks are made from foods you may already have in your kitchen. One combination I recommend often is Greek yogurt with a banana. It's simple, tastes good, and gives your body two things it needs overnight. The Greek yogurt provides high-quality protein to help support muscle maintenance, while the banana adds potassium, which may help support healthy muscle function and hydration. It's quick, easy, and works well for many older adults. Another favorite of mine is cottage cheese, with a small handful of almonds. This combination provides slow-digesting casein protein, along with healthy fats and magnesium. I like this snack because it delivers a steady source of nutrients over several hours. Many of my patients tell me it keeps them feeling satisfied without feeling too full before bed. And then there's an option that surprises some people: a glass of warm milk with a small piece of dark chocolate. It sounds simple because it is. The milk provides protein and calcium, while dark chocolate contains compounds that many people find comforting and relaxing in the evening. For some older adults, This combination becomes part of a calming bedtime routine that supports both recovery and better sleep. What I want people to understand is that there's no perfect snack for everyone. The best choice is often the one you'll actually stick with. Consistency matters far more than perfection. I've seen people spend years searching for a magic solution while overlooking simple habits that could help them every day. Sometimes healthy aging comes down to small choices repeated over and over again. A protein-rich snack before bed may seem minor, but night after night, those choices can help support muscle health, recovery, and the strength you depend on to stay active and independent. If there's one thing I've learned after years of working with older adults, it's that health rarely changes because of one big decision. It usually changes because of small habits repeated day after day. That's why I encourage my patients not to focus on being perfect. Focus on being consistent. You don't have to completely change your life overnight. You don't need a complicated plan. You don't need expensive supplements filling your kitchen cabinets. What matters most is creating a simple routine that you can stick with. Maybe that routine is having a bowl of Greek yogurt before bed. Maybe it's cottage cheese and a few almonds. Maybe it's a glass of milk while you read for a few minutes before turning out the lights. The specific choice matters less than making it part of your everyday life. I've seen people make dramatic changes for a week or two, then give up because it felt overwhelming. I've also seen people make one small adjustment and stick with it for years. Almost every time, the second group does better. The reason is simple. Your body responds to consistency. Every night that you give your muscles the nutrients they need, you're making a small investment in your future. One night won't transform your health, but hundreds of nights can. Those small choices add up. They become stronger muscles, better balance, more energy, greater confidence, more freedom to keep doing the things you love. And that's really what healthy aging is all about. Not chasing perfection, not trying to turn back the clock. It's about giving your body the support it needs so you can keep living life on your own terms. The good news is that it's never too late to start. No matter your age, the habits you build today can still make a difference tomorrow. And sometimes, one simple bedtime routine can become the first step toward a stronger, healthier future. Before we finish, I want to leave you with one message that I believe every older adult needs to hear. It is never too late to get stronger. I know there are people watching right now who are thinking, I wish I had known this 10 years ago. Others may be thinking, at my age, the damage is already done. I've heard those words many times over the years. And honestly, I understand why people feel that way. But I've also seen something remarkable happen again and again. I've seen people in their late 60s improve their strength. I've seen people in their 70s regain confidence walking. I've even seen people in their 80s and beyond make meaningful improvements simply by giving their bodies better nutrition and moving a little more consistently. The human body is incredibly adaptable. Even as we age, our muscles still have the ability to respond. They may not respond as quickly as they did when we were younger, but they can still change. They can still improve. That's one of the most encouraging things we know about healthy aging. Now, I want to be realistic. This isn't about becoming the person you were at 25 years old. It's not about chasing unrealistic goals or expecting overnight results. Real progress takes time. It takes patience. It takes consistency. But here's what matters. You don't need perfect health to improve your future. You only need to start where you are. Maybe your goal is to walk a little farther without getting tired. Maybe it's climbing stairs more comfortably. Maybe it's staying strong enough to play with your grandchildren, travel, work in your garden, or continue living independently. Those goals matter. Every healthy meal, every walk, every smart choice before bed is a vote for the future you want. So wherever you are today, don't focus on what you've lost. Focus on what you can still build, because your muscles are still listening. Your body is still capable of change. And the steps you take today may help you stay stronger, more active, and more independent for many years to come. As we come to the end of this video, I want to take a moment to remind you of something important. Growing older does not mean giving up your strength. It does not mean accepting weakness as your future, and it certainly does not mean losing hope. Today, we've talked about something that many people never hear about until it's already affecting their lives. We talked about muscle loss. We talked about what happens to the body during sleep. We talked about how simple foods like cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, milk, kefir, eggs, and other nutrient-rich choices can help support your muscles during the hours when your body is working hardest to repair itself. But if there's one lesson I hope you remember, it's this. Protecting your muscles is really about protecting your independence. Strong muscles help you stay active. They help you stay steady on your feet. They help you continue doing the things that make life meaningful, whether that's traveling, spending time with family, gardening, walking your dog, or simply living comfortably in your own home. And the best part is that many of these changes don't require complicated solutions. Small, consistent habits can make a real difference over time. If you found this video helpful, I would truly appreciate it if you took a moment to subscribe to the Senior Health channel and turn on notifications. Every week, we share practical, science-based health information designed to help older adults live stronger, healthier, and more independent lives. And if you know someone who could benefit from this message, please consider sharing this video with them. Sometimes, one simple piece of information can make a bigger difference than we realize. Thank you for spending your time with me today. I know your time is valuable, and I'm grateful you chose to be here. I wish you good health, strong muscles, steady steps, restful sleep, and many active years ahead. Take care of yourself. Be patient with your body. Keep making those small, positive choices every day. Because no matter your age, your health is still worth investing in, your future is still worth protecting, and your best days may not be behind you yet. Until next time, stay healthy, stay strong, and keep moving forward.